Welcome to the second session of quantitative aptitude. In this session, we will take a look at some more basic concepts of ratio and proportion. Next, what is proportion? The equality of two ratios is called as proportion. So if A as to B and C as to D are two ratios, if we equate A as to B and C as to D, then it gives rise to a proportion. So for example, A as to B is equal to C as to D, or A upon B is equal to C upon D. Here A and D are called as extremes and B and C are called as the means. You should also remember that the product of extremes is also equal to the product of means. A into D is the product of extremes and B into C is the product of means. Next, if a ratio is given as A as to B, then A square as to B square, this ratio is known as the duplicate ratio. Similarly, the ratio A cube as to B cube is known as the triplicate ratio. Similarly, under root of A as to under root of B is known as the subduplicate ratio, and A to the power of 1 by 3, that is cube root of A as to cube root of B, is known as subtriplicate ratio. Next, we have some important points. Number one, if A as to B is equal to B as to C, then A, B and C are said to be in continued proportion. In this case, B is known as the mean proportional and B square is equal to AC, or B is the geometric mean between A and C. So now let us take a look at a few basic operations of ratios. The first one is componendo. Now, I'm sure all of you remember what is componendo. Just in case you don't, take a look at this. If A upon B is equal to X upon Y, then adding 1 to both the sides gives you A upon B plus 1 is equal to X upon Y plus 1, which is equal to A plus B upon B is equal to X plus Y upon X. This operation of adding 1 to both the sides is known as componendo. Similarly, if we have the same fractions A upon B equal to X upon Y, then subtracting 1 on both the sides, this operation is known as dividendo. So we have A upon B minus 1 is equal to X upon Y minus 1, which gives rise to A minus B upon B is equal to X minus Y upon Y. Some more important points: componendo and dividendo. This is another operation, which means if A upon B is equal to X upon Y, then A plus B upon A minus B is equal to X plus Y upon X minus Y. So these are some basic operations which you need to remember before you move any further on ratios. So now let us solve a few basic questions based on whatever we have learned so far. Calculate the mean proportional between 4 and 9. So when we are talking of mean proportional, obviously we are talking of a continued proportion. And as you are aware, a continued proportion is nothing but when A by B is equal to B upon C. This kind of a proportion is known as a continued proportion. And because we have to calculate the mean proportional, we have to calculate the value of B. So on putting the value of A as 4 and C as 9, we will get 4 upon B is equal to B upon 9, or B square is equal to 36, or B is equal to 6. So we saw we can easily calculate the mean proportional between 4 and 9 as 6. Let us look at another similar question. If 8 and 32 are the first and the third proportionals respectively, then what is the mean proportional between them? Once again, to calculate the mean proportional, we have A upon B is equal to B upon C. On putting values of A and C, we have 8 upon B must be equal to B upon 32. Once again, if you solve for B, you'll first of all get B square as 8 into 32, and finally you will get the value of B as 16. Next, let us see how we can use componendo and dividendo in solving equations, some special kind of equations, faster. So we have this equation A plus B upon A minus B is equal to 5 by 3. Now ideally you will cross multiply, and although cross multiplication in itself is not very difficult, but if you want to save a couple of seconds, all you need to do is just apply componendo and dividendo. Let us take a quick recap of what componendo and dividendo is. So if A upon B is equal to C upon D, then componendo and dividendo implies that you add the numerator and the denominator and keep that value in the numerator on both the sides. So we have A plus B upon the difference of the numerator and the denominator, A minus B, which is equal to C plus D upon C minus D. So on the right hand side also we added the numerator and denominator and kept it in the numerator, and the difference of the numerator and denominator we kept it in the denominator. So let us apply the same here. So if you add the numerator and denominator on the left hand side, you will get A plus B plus A minus B, and the difference of the numerator and the denominator of the left hand side you will get as A plus B minus A minus B, and you will perform the same operation on the right hand side. So 5 plus 3 in the numerator and 5 minus 3 in the denominator. So if you simplify this, you will get 2 times A in the numerator here divided by 2 times B in the denominator, and on the right hand side you will get 8 divided by 2, which means A upon B is equal to 4. So with some practice, this particular step can be done orally, and the moment you see this equation in this format, you will easily list down the value of A upon B as 4. So with this we come to an end of our session. If you wish to watch more videos, please log on to www.pfindia.com. If you wish to ask a query or a doubt, you can write to us at studentservices@pfindia.com. And if you're watching this video on our website, please use the Ask a Doubt feature to raise your queries. Thank you very much.